The old, musty book lay open, its pages whispering of a time lost to history. It spoke of Atlantis, a magnificent city of advanced technology and untold riches swallowed by the sea. Legend said one treasure survived, the heart of Atlantis, a gem holding the city's knowledge and power. For centuries, adventurers and treasure hunters had searched for the heart, driven by the promise of unimaginable wealth and power. But this time, the legend was not just a myth. It was the beginning of an epic adventure. The heart of Atlantis remained a whisper in the wind, waiting to be found. And this adventure would take our heroes across uncharted territories, where legends resurface with a splash. Of course, even a brilliant, if slightly eccentric professor like Quibble couldn't pull this off alone. He needed a crew. First, there was Emily Carter, a graduate student with a thirst for adventure and a talent for deciphering ancient languages. Think Hermione Granger, but with a compass and a healthy dose of skepticism. Next came Jackson Jax O'Malley, a roguishly charming pilot and adventurer who could fly anything that didn't involve flapping his own wings. Think Han Solo, but with less sarcasm and a better sense of direction. And then there was Agnes, a talking parrot with a penchant for bad jokes and a surprising ability to pick locks. Think, well, a talking parrot, but with a touch of pirate swagger. How Agnes came to be was a mystery no one dared to question. Together, this unlikely quartet embarked on their adventure, their eyes fixed on the prize, the lost treasure of Atlantis. Our heroes set off from the safety of their homeland, driven by the promise of untold riches and ancient secrets. Professor Quibble, clutching the ancient map, beamed at his companions.
To Atlantis,
He declared, his voice trembling with excitement. Jax, at the helm of their sturdy seaplane, chuckled.
To adventure, you mean? He said, adjusting his aviator goggles. Atlantis is just a bonus.
Emily, ever the pragmatist, rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress a smile. Their journey was anything but boring. They encountered sudden storms, navigated treacherous reefs, and even fended off a band of mischievous pirates who were more interested in Agnes's witty banter than their actual treasure. Through it all, the team's bond grew stronger, fueled by shared danger and Agnes's terrible jokes. Days turned into weeks as they sailed across the vast ocean, guided by the cryptic symbols on Professor Quibble's map. The map, it turned out, held the key to their quest. It spoke in metaphors and ancient symbols, each clue more perplexing than the last.
the sun sleeps where the serpent weeps, he muttered, squinting at the map. What on earth does that mean?
Emily, her brow furrowed in concentration, traced a line on the map.
I think it's referring to a waterfall, she said. Look, this symbol represents a serpent and the sun setting behind it.
Jax, peering over their shoulders, pointed to a cluster of islands on the horizon.
There, he exclaimed. See that waterfall cascading down the side of that island? Looks like a weeping serpent to me.
Deciphering its clues would test their wits and teamwork. The island, a verdant paradise teeming with life, held both beauty and danger. Dense jungles choked the landscape, their emerald canopies hiding both breathtaking waterfalls and peril at every turn. The air hummed with the sounds of exotic creatures, some welcoming, others not so much. Armed with machetes and insect repellent, the team ventured into the jungle, following a narrow, overgrown path. They battled giant spiders, outsmarted mischievous monkeys, and even befriended a tribe of pygmy elephants who seemed particularly fond of Agnes's jokes. Left, right, Agnes squawked, directing Emily through a maze of ancient ruins. This place is like a giant puzzle, only with more biting insects. Despite the numerous dangers, their determination kept them moving forward. The path led them to a clearing where a magnificent temple, untouched by time, stood guard. But before they could enter, a booming voice echoed through the jungle. Who dares disturb the Temple of Knowledge? A giant stone golem, its eyes glowing with an eerie light, materialized before them. To pass, you must answer my riddle, the golem boomed. What has an eye but cannot see? Professor Quibble, his voice trembling, stammered, Is it a cyclops with a bad cold? The golem remained unimpressed. Jax, ever the pragmatist, suggested, How about a really strong telescope? The golem shook its head. Emily, remembering the cryptic clues of the map, stepped forward. The answer is a needle, she said confidently. The golem, after a moment of silence, let out a deafening roar which shook the ground beneath their feet. But this time, it wasn't a roar of anger, but of laughter. The riddle had been solved, and with it they had proven their intellect and courage, bringing them one step closer to the hidden treasure. In the heart of the jungle, they discovered the hidden temple, a place of ancient mysteries and awe-inspiring beauty. Inside, the air hung heavy with the scent of incense and forgotten secrets. Hieroglyphics adorned the walls, depicting scenes of a glorious past. "This is it," Professor Quibble whispered, his eyes shining with awe. "The heart of Atlantis must be here." The temple was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each more impressive than the last. They deciphered cryptic messages, navigated booby-trapped hallways, and even outran a very grumpy mummy who seemed to have a bone to pick with anyone disturbing his slumber. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the heart of the temple, a vast chamber bathed in an ethereal light. In the center, resting on a pedestal of polished obsidian, lay a giant, pulsating gem. Section 8. The treasure revealed the heart of Atlantis. It pulsed with an inner light, its facets shimmering with 1,000 colors. Professor Quibble, his face flushed with excitement, reached out a trembling hand. "We did it," he breathed. "The legend is true." As he touched the gem, the entire chamber began to tremble. The air crackled with energy, and the hieroglyphics on the walls sprang to life, swirling around them in a dizzying dance. "What's happening?" Emily cried, grabbing onto Jax for support. Jax, his eyes wide with a mixture of awe and apprehension, shook his head. "I don't know," he shouted back, "but I have a feeling we're about to find out." The light intensified, engulfing them in a blinding white. Then, just as suddenly, everything went quiet. The treasure was finally revealed, a sight that filled them with triumph and wonder. But their journey was far from over. Section 9. An unexpected twist. The light faded, and the team found themselves back in the chamber, the heart of Atlantis still glowing softly on its pedestal. Had it all been a hallucination? But something was different. Professor Quibble, usually a picture of scholarly disarray, now sported a neatly trimmed beard and a stylish safari outfit. Emily found herself wearing a pair of high-tech goggles, while Jax admired his new leather jacket. Even Agnes looked different, her feathers a shade brighter, her vocabulary suddenly expanded with a string of Shakespearean insults. "What in the—" Professor Quibble began, staring at his reflection in the polished floor. "I look younger. And is it just me? Or do I have an irresistible urge to invest in a good pair of hiking boots?" Emily, fiddling with her new goggles, noticed a small inscription on the side. "Atlantean Tech," she read aloud. "These aren't just goggles, they're some kind of augmented reality device." Their plans were thrown into disarray, but their bond and quick thinking helped them navigate the surprises. Section 10. A humorous escape. Before they could ponder their transformations further, a low rumble shook the temple. Cracks spiderwebbed across the walls and dust rained down from the ceiling. The island, it seemed, wasn't too happy about them disturbing its ancient treasure. "Time to go," Jax yelled, scooping up the heart of Atlantis. They made their escape as the temple crumbled around them, dodging falling debris and the occasional grumpy bat. Agnes, perched on Jax's shoulder, provided a running commentary. "To the seaplane, Robin Hood," she squawked, "and step on it." They burst out of the collapsing temple and sprinted towards their seaplane, the ground shaking beneath their feet. The island was sinking, the ocean reclaiming what was once lost. Their pursuers, not as nimble, tripped over debris, adding to the chaos. With laughter echoing, they narrowly escaped danger, outwitting their pursuers at every turn. Section 11. The Real Treasure. They made it onto the seaplane just as the island disappeared beneath the waves, leaving nothing but churning water and a legend reborn. Exhausted but exhilarated, they watched the sun set on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. "So," Jax said, breaking the silence, "what do we do with this?" He held up the heart of Atlantis, its glow illuminating their faces. Professor Quibble, his eyes twinkling, smiled. "I have a feeling we'll figure something out." As they flew back, the heart of Atlantis pulsing gently in their hands, they realized the real treasure wasn't the gem itself, but the journey they had undertaken, the friendships they had forged, and the memories they would carry with them always. And maybe, just maybe, a newfound appreciation for Agnes's terrible jokes. After all, even adventurers need a good laugh now and then.